Alright, hello everyone, my name is Dakoba, and welcome back to Satisfactory. We're up here at our recently expanded power plant, and we are jumping down to our base to get ready for a big exploration trip, because we need to expand our access to dimensional depots. Now, in order to do that, we need to find a bunch of Mercer spheres. We're also going to be looking while we're out for other things of interest, things like a yellow power slug perhaps, summer sloops, and additional hard drives. We'll also be taking a look around the northern forest area just beyond these hills for anything else of value, noteworthy resource veins. We may look for some SAM ore. We haven't found sulfur yet, so sulfur would be a good resource to look for in the area as well. But before we do that, we need to pop on home and clean up our inventory, which is a little full. And also I want to do a little bit of research into the dimensional depots to expand how much we can store and how quickly we can store it so that we can be building up a stockpile as we go. Alright, back here at base, let's check out the MAM and see what we can do. I want to start off under alien technology and expand what we can do with our dimensional depot. I think before we go exploring, what I want to do is focus on stack size. We're going to be gone for a while, so I don't mind the slow trickle of goods in. We also only have enough Mercer spheres to improve one of the two upgrades, either stack size or upload speed. And upload speed, I think they're both going to be very important for us, but right now I think stack size is more important for us, again, because we have a bit of time here. So we'll go ahead and do that.
Dimensional expansion increased to 200%. Refining manipulation of SAM allows us to now deconstruct non-living matter down to its atomic components in one dimension, and store it in basic bound states in another.
We do not resonate with the tribute song. Do not worship at the window. Desecrate our temple gifts. This shallow serenade is sour and salt.
My intention was not to encroach, if that is what upsets you, nor was it to dispose of material I do not waste.
Interesting, we've got some dialogue going on between Ada and whatever the alien voice is. Alright, also before we go, I want to expand our tool belt slots so that we have a little bit easier time swapping between equipment, particularly because we're going to want to have access to our object scanner.
Tool belt expanded. No alien organisms were harmed during the creation of this tool belt.
So we had one tool belt expansion within the alien megafauna tree, and I believe there's another one under mycelia here. Yeah, so we can go ahead and do that real quick.
Tool belt expanded. The latest data indicates that the mycelia possess sentience. Don't worry, we have been given permission to harvest and repurpose their remains.
Alright, let's go ahead and research our nutritional processor within the food tree as well. And that gives us the nutritional inhaler.
Research shows potential for processing planetary nutrients for pioneer benefit. Nutritional inhaler research available.
Alright, so now we can use that research to craft up a nice little stockpile of nutritional inhalers to aid us on our journey.
Nutritional inhaler recipe unlocked. Using this inhaler will restore health, and also gives your skin a radiant glow that is connected to well-being and probably not radioactivity.
Alright, I think we are pretty well equipped. We have essentially a stack of each item that we are producing, as well as some basic supplies, things like a full complement of ammunition. Alright, our last step before we go is to clean up our inventory a little bit. We don't need our Mercer spheres or summer sloops with us, and if something were to happen to us, if we were to die on this trip and have our death box in an unpleasant place, like if we fall off the map, for example, then that could be deeply unpleasant to lose those. We're going to leave those behind, but we are going to take more or less a stack of everything we have just so that we have it in case we need it. We'll swap out for a full stack of Caterium. And then we're also bringing plenty of materials for power lines because we want to be able to run power to wherever we're going in case we want to set something up. I also have the materials needed to set up a Mark 1 miner in the event we find something like sulfur or additional SAM ore and want to set that up with a dimensional depot. We are going to be fighting just about everything we come across on our trip because one of the other purposes is gathering up a bunch of alien materials for use in unlocking the rest of our buildables in the Awesome Shop. We're getting to the point where the crafted items that we find aren't going to be producing enough points for us to really unlock very much at all. And so getting another big chunk of tickets out of alien protein and alien parts will go a long way towards getting us all the buildables we need for our next few builds. And that's something else we're going to want to focus on later on after this trip, is setting up a depot for materials. We found a number of materials around the map. Our SAM ore up here, the quartz and coal down to the south, the Caterium and iron and copper around the Rocky Desert. And they are a little too disparate. They're too spread out for us to make real use of at this time. So we are going to be today setting up a depot that'll allow us to bring those things together and repurpose them for use in another factory. So that is our build. That is one of the builds that we'll be looking at today. But first, we need to look for some Mercer spheres. Looks like there is one to the north here. Possibly up in these cliffs. Let's see what we have here. This way. This way? Bet it's down below. Ah. Behind the quartz. Clever.
To the altar and chant.
Clever, clever. Beautiful.
Look through the window. The voiceless effigy creates bodies in their waves, but does not notice the shore. Is our melody not beautiful?
Detecting abnormal brainwave activity again. Activating artificial brainwave resonator.
Your shallow song has no rhythm. The river erodes our temples without prayers and washes away our scripture without deepening. Consume.
I believe this is one of those moments where the scientist would yell, "Eureka!" But that seems entirely too dramatic. It seems they are somehow organically emulating human speech. Fascinating. Continue exposing yourself to alien artifacts.
Nice. Alright, what do we have here? Slug? Alright, we found a nice stockpile of sulfur up here, so we can set up a miner with a dimensional depot in order to start building up a stockpile. So after we're done with this exploration trip, we can head back to base and take a look at the sulfur tree and the man. Dimensional depot, perfect. Some of those out. Beautiful. In there, and then I think I see a drop pod back. Yes. So we will pin there as well. We know to check out both of those. In there. Beautiful.
Notice the scripture. Our instruments echo in the deep. Do they not pluck the shallow threads?
Can you hear me?
Crescendo, the effigy found the key. Sing more.
I was not created for artistic purposes. I am incapable of singing.
You sing.
Noted.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through the rest of the exploration at base. We can take a look at the prizes we got. We got a total of 7 hard drives. We've researched 2 of those. We've got one of those waiting for us. We'll take a look at that, but we've got 5 more in the bank. We have 18 new Mercer spheres, so 19 spare in total, several power slugs, a couple of summer sloops, and a whole bunch of other resources, including, let me see if we can sort this out and find them. Yes, so 61 hog remains, 16 hatcher remains, 52 spitter remains, and 4 stinger remains. So that should give us a bunch of tickets as well. Let's go ahead and store everything we can, and then take a look at research. All right, this one has given us the steel cast plate and the fine concrete. Again, many of these recipes are not particularly valuable. Let's go ahead and unlock a few things in the alien research tree, and then we'll go back through that hard drive list here in a little bit.
Summer sloop analysis completed. Summer sloops are somewhere between battery and conduit, harvesting energy from pockets of space with complete disregard for the rules of the space-time continuum, and distributing it into its connected ecosystem. This energy is pulled directly from distant sources with no latency or loss, and shows significant enough similarities to the hypothetical force of dark energy to potentially be one and the same. It can now be tracked by the object scanner.
Let the effigies harvest until the waves reach our shores. Consume.
Alright, under power slugs, we can do research into the purple power slugs. Let us unlock those. That'll give us a ton of power shards.
Research completed. Purple power slugs seem to be near the end of their life cycle and have a significant amount of potential energy stored. It is a good thing Fix-It does not waste. Purple power slugs can now be processed into power shards.
Alright, under alien energy harvesting, we can go ahead and research the SAM fluctuator. Or research the alien energy harvesting node.
Potential for harnessing alien energy completed. Fix-It has identified 2 development tracks requiring additional research to integrate summer sloops safely and efficiently into Fix-It technology.
The loop organ contains instruments to compose symphonies of root and rot and recycling. Shrines to evolution and revolution.
I see. It seems we truly are building understanding.
Alright, let's go ahead and get our upload speed upgrade.
Dimensional upload speed increased. Part of the kinetic and thermal energy released during matter conversion has now been repurposed to aid with dimensional shifting, allowing for more parts to be transferred in a short time frame.
Loop the veins, ease the flow, make a curve out of a line. Your shallow minds create shallow solutions, pretty ripples.
Shallow mind? Pretty ripples? I certainly hope that wasn't meant to include me.
Let's go ahead and do the manual depot uploader for now.
Manual depot uploader unlocked. Storage dimension and pocket dimension now connected both ways and stable. Parts can now be uploaded to the storage dimension directly from the inventory. Note: the storage dimension now understands the boundaries of the pocket dimension and recognizes the distinction between matter belonging to the Pioneer's inventory and matter belonging to the Pioneer.
The window within the window within the shallows within the deep, curling around itself separately, echoes strangely.
I'm sure strange is the correct term for what this must feel like to you.
Alright. And we can just queue all that up, and that'll just keep running in the background, so that's fantastic. Hold the steel pipes out and drop in a stack there. Love it. Alright, and that leaves us with 13 Mercer spheres for constructing dimensional depots. Now, in order to do that, we are going to need to craft up several SAM fluctuators. Those are still a manual craft, so we'll pull out the reanimated SAM that we are banking up and craft a bunch of those up. Now we'll never run out of wire or cable again. We've already got concrete production underway, so if we can do another dimensional depot on iron rods, then that means our power lines and power poles will essentially be infinite. We can place them wherever we travel around the map and always have those. And then as we continue to get Mercer spheres, keep an eye out either through direct exploration like we did today, or just through the process of playing the game. We'll be able to expand to all the other products that we need. Alright, so an interesting thing happened. I was just sort of playing around, and I did a scan for sulfur and found a node of sulfur, pure sulfur, right next to our pure quartz there. We have our impure vein up there with the dimensional depot on it. So I think we were about to head down to our quartz vein to set up a truck station there and get that ready for our build. We'll take a look at that sulfur while we are there. Speaking of sulfur, though, I think we have everything we need to do some research, because we should have in our dimensional depot, we have some sulfur, and then we should have plenty of coal around as well, just from having it on hand. So let's go ahead and do that research real quick.
Research completed. Black powder recipe unlocked. New sulfur research available.
Oh, this is so exciting. I can't wait. Alright, now experimental power generation only takes sulfur. Fortunately, we have enough, as well as some other common materials.
Research completed. Experimental power generation research options are now available. These may enhance performance of other fuel sources.
Obelisk detonator and obelisk.
Detonator and basic Nobelisk unlocked. Most obstacles can be cleared with the basic Nobelisk. It is most effective against organic material and is able to destroy small boulders and porous rock. Deployed Nobelisks will stick to the first solid surface they touch and queue on the universal detonator. If you do not recall the order in which you deployed the Nobelisks, remember Fixit does not take responsibility for any harm caused due to human error, even if those errors are genetic.
Oh, that's very exciting. Alright, let's go ahead and research this one as well.
Tool belt expanded. I compounded Sulfur's Tristatic atom matrix into a quadridimensional gate vortex. You can now carry more stuff.
See what secrets you are hiding. Oh, love it. Alright, while we're here, let's scout out the location of that sulfur vein. See what we need to do to tap it. This there. Alright, so we got some hogs. Yeah, that'll work. I liked that. That was fun. Alright, now that all of that is out of the way, it is time for us to start doing a little bit of building on our base. And I think the first thing is going to be to take down this dimensional depot. Now that we can upload directly from our inventory, we really have no purpose or having this here. And that means we can reclaim those components and use them to construct another dimensional depot somewhere else. Perhaps our rotor factory, for example, could make use of one. Let's pop that one up over there. And pick it up. There we go. And now rotors are also in the mix for stockpilable items, which is excellent. All right, next up, I do want to make use of this space. However, what I want to do with it is going to be a little bit tricky, and I need to figure out the right way to do it, because I want to leave this rock bridge clear so that we can run a train line through here. That's ultimately my goal for this section. We'll have to clean up our power lines when we get to that. Then run the train line back here and into this direction, and that way we can build sort of another tier up on the right and on the left and up into these cliffs when we start to advance our base a little bit. And that is something that we will be doing in the future, but this space is reserved for train lines. However, I do want to make use of this little nook back here, and what I want to build there is a factory for processing some of our spoils from our hunting expeditions. So let's go ahead and set down a couple of foundations so that we can at least get a sense for where things are at here. A specific build that I want to put in here is a little mini factory that will let us drop off our alien components, and then we'll turn them into the alien protein and sync them. All right, and that is a alien protein factory all complete. Does look like it has a few issues that I'm not quite sure how we'll address at this time without doing a full redesign, but it will work for now, and it'll at least get us a good start. What's happening is we have a storage container over next to our hub. We can put all of our alien parts in there. They will send it across this raised conveyor over into a bank of smart splitters. Each smart splitter will filter out one type of alien DNA or alien remains, and the constructors there will then process those remains into alien protein, which then come on over here to be turned into the alien DNA capsules for syncing. This is spiking since it started running our coupon production. We're up to 33 coupons, and I expect we'll get quite a bit more. Now, the issue we were having is with our overflow system here, and that is that a single constructor does not cook very fast. So this overflowed, and since this was overflowed and the belt was fully backed up, it flowed into our backup storage container. Now, I set this here mostly to catch things I accidentally put in. If I drop in a power slug, for example, that would clog the system, and so this is here to prevent that, but also for situations like that. Anytime you use a smart splitter belt like that, it's good to have some way to process overflow. Usually you'll sync it directly. In this case, we wanted to capture it, since the things we're dumping here are coming straight out of our inventory, and we don't want to accidentally lose something valuable. And this is one last task that we have to do by hand now. This was something that required, after each trip, 5 or 10 minutes of handcrafting the protein and then the DNA capsules, and now we can simply dump it in that box. And so it's just a minor sort of chore automation, but it is one less thing that we have to do by hand, and so it is a win. All right, next up we're going to work on a logistics system. However, before we do that, there's one more thing I want to take care of. Now, a little bit ago, we headed through this cave and found some additional sulfur a little bit closer to base. And what I want to do, check to see if there's SAM closer to base too, because right now, SAM is the only material we're bringing from up on the hill. It looks like there is something. I had a hunch there might even be in this cave. Or it might be jungle. That is something we need to sort out. I think this is where, if we want to do it, we'll have to do so. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to build 3 pillars. Start with the foundation. I sense enemies. I think they may sense me. Damn. So, what I'm thinking, if we can run a conveyor line over here, set up a miner, run a conveyor line, and then a very long vertical conveyor, we can tap this one and have local access. All right. Well, with that sorted out, and a path up there, we can work on getting that properly set up during our time lapse. Let's get into it. right, we have a basic supply depot all set up and organized, and the trucks are running their routes. And in theory, the first tractor has already been working for quite a while. And you can see that material is flowing in and eventually just being sunk at this stage. But that's okay. That's part of the plan. This is all for overflow. And then we have some production of some reanimated SAM here as well. So let's go through how all this works. Now, at the various mining nodes and sort of mini factories we've set up around the map, I've gone ahead and set up a truck station at each of those. Each of those truck stations supplies a tractor that's moving around between them and then brings the materials they're producing back to here. Now, in this case, this truck station is bringing in 4 different types of materials. We found a SAM node up in the red jungle, so we are loading that up in the cave. We have our quartz crystals being loaded up, and then we have coal and sulfur being loaded up as well. Now, with this design, I did have to be careful to tune everything, not to overload the station. So we are bringing in precisely 270 items a minute, which is the maximum that we can process with our current belts. So I believe we're bringing in 150 coal, and the goal of that is to use 120 in production lines soon, and the other 30 to provide for the other lines that come through this depot. And this may expand. You know, we have some more space to extend this out, or even build it in other directions. All right, and then we're bringing in 60 sulfur a minute, 30 quartz per minute, and 30 SAM per minute. And so that should bring us to a perfect 270 items per minute. The truck station should just about empty out before the next load arrives, and the cycle will continue. Now we will be building a factory on top of this that will make use of these materials in our next episode. All right, now this depot is going to provide for a larger factory in our next episode that's going to provide a ton of the parts that we need to advance through the game. However, I do want to do a quick demonstration of how we might be able to capitalize on it. So let's extend out our foundation just a little bit here and set up some basic production lines that will show how we could use this. Now in this case, I'm going to set up a temporary production line for some explosives. So we're going to start with our iron ore. We can go ahead and bring that around. Draw out a conveyor line there. Let's go ahead and splitter to here. We can run this line down out of the line over here. Now the explosives, let's go ahead and set up an assembler to take a look at what we're going to need. The explosives will require steel pipes and black powder. Black powder is also produced in an assembler and is made from sulfur and coal. So what we can do is set up some production lines for those products. Set up a splitter on our coal line, and another one on our sulfur line. That. Run our steel line over here. This one will make our black powder. Go. And then to process our iron, we're going to need a smelter. We're going to need a structure. iron ingots, and this one will make iron pipes. That can come on over there. Power to everything. So. But the splitter is not actually attached to the belts. Go. All right, so this is a not very efficient, but decently functional. Let's suppose we want to produce one obelisk per minute. One obelisk per minute. That's not very much obelisk, but as it turns out, you don't need that much. By the time for example, by the time I finish building the full factory that will take use of this depot, I expect that to take 3 or 4 hours. So if we leave this production line running for that time, we will end up with around 200 to 250 Nobelisk, which I can't imagine consuming in a reasonable amount of time. And by the time we manage to consume it, we'll probably have several hundred more. So one Nobelisk per minute is plenty, and it doesn't take much. That means we only need 2 steel pipes per minute. That means we only need 8 iron ingots per minute. It also means we're going to need 2 black powder per minute. Go ahead, set that production rate there. And so we're pulling 1 coal and 1 sulfur per minute to make this. Now, obviously, we would want this to be appropriately stockpiled. So, do we have what we need for a dimensional depot? We're missing some sand fluctuators, so we'll just chuck this into a storage container for now. But hopefully that helps to demonstrate the value of this sort of depots, that we were able to set up this production line using just a tiny fraction of what we're bringing here. So we could set up another production line so we could just as easily take some of that same iron and set up a production line for rotors, for example, as part of a motor factory. And we also have the option of expanding it. I left space with the intention of being able to set up additional locations where we can unload materials and then build this into a structure vertically that allows us to sort things out. We're doing this all on one level, but instead of sending these sort of out through this gap, if we were to send them vertically up onto a second floor, they could be further sorted and defined, and that's something we will take a closer look at in our next episode. But now that we have some basic Nobelisk production up and running, but now that our depot is complete, and for purposes of demonstration, we are producing a little bit of explosives, and I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. We'll be able to repurpose this depot to supply for a much larger factory in this area in our next episode, and it may be enough to push us into the next phase of the game, because I think we have all the materials that we need to produce everything we need to finish phase 2. All right, thanks again. I'd like to thank you guys again for taking a few minutes out of your day to spend with me here in the world of Satisfactory. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Leave a like if you have, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. My name is Dakoba, and I hope you have an efficient day. I'll see you soon.